Good morning, everyone. And nice to see all of us here today as we once again gather around to have this time of devotion to God and just to really have a great time. And it's just 2 minutes past the hour, and I hope you enjoyed those tunes that I placed on replay. First was Ikon, as rendered by the Campus Ministry of Lagos, and the other one is Shiloh, and rendered by a group from Congo called Gael. You might want to look them up on YouTube. Fantastic group. I had the song just once in one of my trips to Abidjan. Actually, a brother gave me a CD to help him rip it. And as I was ripping, I was playing it. I just said, I need to get me this group. And I play it all the time. Shiloh. It's a very soul moving song. Today is the 10th day of the month of February, and today is special. Every day is special, but today is kind of special because today is day 41 in our power series. Day 41. That means we've done more than 40 days, and today we're going to be looking at just 2 verses. Again, like I said, this is beginning to look like something, an ice cream that you start rushing, and as it's getting to the end, you're not taking it small, or pizza or something you really like. It might be akara, it might be amala, it might be anything. Really exciting. I've been up 2 hours before now, or more than that, trying to put things together. I have a Bible teaching, and I'm going to be inviting a lot of you on the resurrection on Sunday. Myself and some group of teachers, global teachers, have been doing some series over the past few weeks for the churches in Southern Africa, Zambia to be precise, but every person joins. So we have teachers from Kuwait, from East Africa, Southern Africa, the United States. Of course, I represent West Africa and everything. As we get closer to the Easter period, so we're doing all these classes. There was going to be a climax when all of us meet at Zambia in March, to have a teaching, I want to say, expositional seminar with the church over there. So we just have to walk and make sure I get everything ready. All right, so today we're going to be looking at something pleasing. We're going to be looking at living a life of pleasing sacrifice. And we're going to take just 2 verses today that we're going to be looking at in the book of Hebrews, chapter 13. We'll look at verse 15 and 16. Hebrews 13, 15, and 16. And this is what it says. Through Jesus, remember, it's all about Jesus. Through Jesus, therefore, let us continually, all of us, offer to God a sacrifice of praise. And what's that sacrifice of praise? There's a dash there. The fruits of lips that confess his name. That's the fruits of lips that confess him. So let's offer to God through our Lord Jesus Christ sacrifice of praise. Remember, we are all priests, and that's what priests offer sacrifice at the altar, right? But right now, we are the living sacrifice, and we are also the priests, and we are offering sacrifice of praise. So in theology, this is called a bloodless sacrifice without blood. And in verse 16, it says, and do not forget to do good. You can be religious and not be righteous, okay? We can be religious, singing praises, offering thanks and everything, but we might not be very righteous. So the Bible says, and do not forget to do good and to share with others. Do not forget to do good and to share with others. Why? You might want to ask. The answer is the next line. For with such sacrifices, God is pleased with. So sacrifices, so plural, now in that comes in. So offering, sacrifice, singular, or praise, then doing good, sharing with others, bring all those 3 together. This is such sacrifices God is pleased with. Okay, and of course, if you're thinking about there are Psalms. I mean, when we started October challenge, last year, October, I taught you several Psalms, and one of my favorite Psalms is Psalms of praise, Psalms of praise. You have communal praise where they come together, like Psalm 65, for example, Psalm 67, Psalm 75, 107, 125, Psalm 136. Those ones are categorized under community psalms. They sing it together. But there are also individual psalms of thanksgiving. You have Psalm 18, very popular one, Psalm 18, Psalm 30, Psalm 32, Psalm 34, Psalm 40, Psalm 66, Psalm 92, that's a popular one too, 92, Psalm 106, Psalm 116, Psalm 116, Psalm 118, and Psalm 138. So if you would like to, just avail yourself of thanksgiving. So when you read those psalms, it actually teaches you how to give thanks. It grooms you. Now, psalms of praise are also one, and I'm going to explain this to us very soon. Psalms of praise is like Psalm 8, oh Lord our God, you guys know those. Psalm 8, Psalm 19, Psalm 33 is also included as Psalms of praise. Sometimes it can be calculated as Psalms of thanksgiving, but also Psalms of praise. Psalm 33, Psalm 66, Psalm 100, Psalm 103, Psalm 104, Psalm 111, 113, 114, 117. And if you now read the whole of Psalm 145 all the way down to the end, to Psalm 150, that's 145, 146, 147, 148, 149, and 50. Those are Psalms of praise. So it's very, very important. Now, so you must have heard me say this many times. The way you can distinguish them. What's the difference between Psalms of thanksgiving and Psalms of praise? Okay, let's start from other Psalms. For example, we all know, Psalms of lament. For example, there are some that will just like, somebody's dying here. When you are lamenting, you're like, God, it's not fair. Look at what I'm going through. That's actually Psalms of lament. And there's another one that says, God, I know what I'm going through. You know what? I want you to go fight for me. I want you to go and deal with my enemy. I wish we just dash their children's body to the. That is called imprecatory psalms. Imprecatory psalms are those psalms that tend to verbalize. They kind of verbalize the inner groaning. So they contain verbalization of God. To God, not to man, to God, of anger at others. Okay, God, I hate what this person is doing. I'm very upset. It's also expressed, to and God verbally. It's only expressed to God, not to man. These psalms are appeal to God to pour out his wrath upon, the psalmist's enemy. You're like, God, please punish them for what they've done. And one of the famous ones is Psalm 7, Psalm 12, Psalm 35, Psalm 58, 59, 60. Even what Jesus Christ, on the psalm, he was also reciting the imprecatory psalm. Now we have the Messianic psalm, talks about the coming of Messiah. We have the celebratory psalm, the one that just celebrates the renewal of the covenant. But let's focus on this thing about you thank someone for what they have done. So thanksgiving is only for what someone has done for you or for us. So that's different between thanksgiving, but that's the possible Thanksgiving. So after I've used imprecatory psalms, I do psalms of lament, I do psalms of request, asking psalms, God, please help me, psalms of deliverance, everything. You thank God. So psalms of thanksgiving is when you say thank you for what you've done. But what about psalms of praise? Okay, it's a different thing between psalms of thanks. You thank someone for what they have done for you, but you praise someone for who they are. So you see the difference? So when you're praising God, say, God, you are awesome, you are wonderful, you are the creator, you are praising them. But when you're thanking, you are saying thank you for what you have done. You don't thank somebody for what he has not done, what he has done. So thank you. And we also say thank to God for in anticipation of what he is going to do. So it's very, very important that we actually understand, difference as we jump into today's, reading. and to see. But again, as we run down, this wonderful journey that we have been, this incredible journey that we have been. Remember, it's about Jesus. You remember how God spoke or still speaks to us through his son, Jesus. I want you to remember, don't forget that Jesus is the radiance of God, the representation. If you can't see God, but Jesus you have seen. If you can't see an object, but you've seen the shadow of the object. If you can't gaze, to the sun because of it's so awesome, but you can feel the heat and you can feel the illumination. So Jesus is the radiance and representation of God. Jesus is not an angel. He's superior to angels. And that's why for everything the angel says, we have to pay attention. But for Jesus, we have to pay more careful attention because he brings us great salvation. Jesus is not just a conqueror, a king. He's also a family member. He has come to make us family. We become like brothers. He becomes our big brother. And because our big brother has to focus on him, fix our thoughts on Jesus. Jesus will teach you the power of encouragement. Jesus will teach you how to rest. Like the Bible talks about the psalmist, he leads me beside still water. He restored my soul. Sheep are stubborn. Goats are even worse, but they need a shepherd to lead them to quiet waters, not to rush water down, to quiet places, to green grass. Because of that, we shall not be in want. So we need to learn to rest. When we don't rest, we are actually rebelling. So we are going after the things of the the devil, also known as Shetani, Satan. Okay, and so while we are resting, then you can calm down to that, begin to observe well. So you observe the portrait of Christ's life, the kind of life he wants you to live, the kind of life he is living. And as you live that life, you begin to grow. Things are becoming clearer to you. You grow onto maturity. As you grow, you begin to understand the certainty of the promises that God has given to you. Then you're able to now understand who you are, self-realization, that you belong to a priesthood that is superior to that of Aaron. Then you're able to now say, well, why is it superior? Because this one has better promises. This one has the blood of Jesus. This one has salvation, eternal salvation. But the other one didn't have it. Then you begin to keep your heart pure, because if you realize that this is what you have, then you cannot mess up. You can't mess up. You purify your heart. Aaron purified his body, but we purify our hearts. And then don't just do it alone. You also spur people around you unto us love and good deeds. And you also rebuke. Sometimes our hearts might be tempted to draw away. When you see your brother going astray, you bring him back. Don't be like Ken, who says, "Am I my brother's keeper?" That statement actually doesn't mean, it means, am I? Let me find a phrase to explain it. It means a brother's keeper in those days, somebody who prognoses on somebody's affairs. That's actually what it means. A prognosis, somebody who's an aproko, somebody who's alatojubo, somebody who is you can call it all kinds of names. So it's actually a negative word. Say, am I aproko? Am I that kind of? So, but today we think is, am I my brother's keeper? Like, take care of my brother. No, it's somebody who is actually a pest who's always going after. There's actually a new slogan that people use. Tony Makinde, Makinde, call you Makinde. So that are just somebody who is just an amiable. Anyway, that's another day, another sermon. Anyway, so we talk to one another. We really hold one another up, and there's a reward for perseverance. When we continue that way, there is really a reward for all of us. So faith, because there's a reward, you're not seeing it now, so it has to be based on faith. And for you to be encouraged, you have to look back. Who has gone through this race and that have been blessed, and that we can point to? We can point to Abel, we can point to Enoch, we can point to Noah, we can point to many faithful examples. We can point to Abraham, who went by faith. He had the faith to go, he had the faith to sacrifice, also the faith to receive. And because of that, they can speak better things about their future. They can speak faithfully. The Lord, the Lord is my strength. In time of trouble, the Lord, they can speak. I'll be blessed in the land. The Lord will see me through. When I look up my eyes to the hill, from where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord who makes heaven and earth. He will not let my foot, all those psalms and say you can speak faithfully. And I think as Christians, we need more faithful utterances in terms of our lives. Yes, be real. Bible said that Abraham faced the fact. It's actually the fact that elicits faith. If there's no statistics, how will we know that, oh, we're overpopulated or we're underpopulated or there is imbalance in gender or whatever? So the facts actually poses faith. So we're not throwing facts away, but we are building our faith from that fact, just like Bible says. So we'll speak to the future. As we do that, we have to refuse the opposite, that is sin. We have to have faith. Like Moses was a good example to refuse sin. And a lot of people conquered Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, King Hezekiah, David. We have very great kings and prophets. Elijah, Elisha, all of those people who really, who really succeeded. But sometimes, faith can be risky. Sometimes people might suffer. Even in the Christian community, Peter said, if you suffer, do not suffer as a meddler or as a thief or as a whatever. But if you suffer as a Christian, you are blessed. So sometimes because of our stand, our spiritual stand, we might lose out on some things. And that is where the Bible says, hey, there's no relationship between faith and suffering. Jesus Christ said, anyone who comes to him must also be persecuted. We like the right thing, we like the nice thing, but you're also persecuted. As soon as we take a stand, people are going to notice you. It's either they embrace you and hug you and thank you, or they can say stone him away from him, away from us. So faith will be commended. Our faith is commended. So no matter what you are going through, know for sure that God is not blind towards your suffering for his sake. So because of that, stay focused on the goal. All of us, stay focused on the goal. Don't switch lane. There's a mark that be marked out for you. But also you should run with perseverance. And it's easy to switch lane if you are running on a course. If you look at it, the inner lane is actually smaller. The outer lane is wider. And that's why when they are putting the marks, when they start with on your marks, you can see that it actually goes, this way. They give more room for people who are outside the distance. So and when you are running 100 meters, you cannot switch lane. The only time you can switch lane if you are running 100, long distance. After you have circled the full course, then you cannot switch lane. So, but don't switch lane prematurely. You will be disqualified. So it takes discipline to remain that, because we are saying, oh, but why do you put him in the inner lane? You put me in the outer lane because I know what I'm doing. Guess what? At the end of the day, all of you will be at the same distance actually, So don't be dismayed. Discipline yourself also, because discipline is the path of great harvest. You will reap the reward. And as you are being disciplined, be at peace. Work on your relationship with other people, both in the church, both outside the church. The Bible says, let no debt remain unpaid. Do not let the sun go down while you're still let's be quick in restoring relationship and every single thing. Of course, as you're doing that, and you might have to take some stand, don't sell out, don't sell your birthright. You need to have the wisdom to exercise some restraint. You have to say no to certain things. You have to abstain from certain things, because it's not what the whole thing. You must learn to weigh which one is better. Should I use my money to buy food in the house, or should I use it to go and watch a match? Something like that. Well, watching the match is great, but after watching match, I need to eat. So why can't I eat and listen to the game on radio or whatever? So you guys know what I'm talking about. When we come to God's kingdom, we find out it's a kingdom of joy. If you do it right, you are going to be happy. You're not going to be like the Jews who are always looking over their shoulder. Oh, have we missed one law? Have we done something? Listen, God's kingdom is about joy, love, and peace in the Holy Spirit. And you'll be able to find out that when we are here, it is a kingdom that is awesome. It's of awe. So keep loving one another. Make sure you show hospitality. Make sure you show empathy. Empathy is you putting yourself in people's position. Do not be quick to just rebuke someone or to just write them off. As you said, if I were there, how would I express it? So one of the things we need to put ourselves up is the constant law for the immoral things in this world. So we looked at sexual purity in Christianity as Christians? How do we respond, to some of the challenges that we have? Now, you have to be spiritually committed, and also, rather than go to the world, say, I think God is enough for me. God is enough for me. I don't have to go this far. I don't have to go and do this, whatever. And that is where the spirit of contentment comes in. So as you're doing that, hey, there are people who are in the forefront. Pray for them, remember them, your leaders in your life. And as you're doing that, don't forget also to distinguish between false teachings and true teachings. Very, very important, so that we don't get carried away. And talk about these false teachings, some of them are from inside. The most dangerous false teachings are the ones that come within. So I haven't laid this foundation. I think it's time for us to just look inward right now on how we can be that pleasing sacrifice that God calls us to be. Remember, the springboard is Hebrews 13, 15, and 16. The Bible says through, if you underline that word, it is through Jesus. Therefore, let us continually, not just once, constantly offer to God a sacrifice of praise. And that sacrifice of praise is the fruit of lips that openly profess his name. And do not forget to do good and to share with others. For with such sacrifices, God is pleased. Do not forget to do good. So we look at our lives from old rituals to new realities. At the midweek service, for those of you in Ikeja, I talked a lot about some of the things that even we do, that we have instituted and think is a doctrine, but we are wrong. So bottom line, the writer of Hebrews is a mind change, trying to change the minds and the hearts of these Christians from going back to Judaism. So the Egypt tribe, once renowned for their devotion to gods through animal sacrifices, found themselves at an ideological crossroad. The ideology, right across the path. Say, a young man named Kyle, challenged the age-old tradition, advocating for more compassionate and humane approach to honoring their deities. Amidst a severe drought, Kyle proposed a radical idea. What's that idea? A collective sacrifice of their time and labor to restore their land. The tribe, they're desperate for salvation, salvation from hunger, agreed to this plan. With tireless effort, they transformed their parched earth into a thriving ecosystem, proving that true devotion lay not in bloodshed, but in acts of love and care for the land. Okay, so that's what happens. When there's drought, people say, oh, maybe we need to go and kill a chicken, or we need to go and whatever. But why can't you try doing irrigation? But God has given us a break. So you see, in the same way, in the Old Testament, sacrifices were required to connect with the divine or to connect with God. But in the New Testament, Jesus' sacrifice made all other sacrifices obsolete, like cancelled. Now, we connect with God through sincerity of our hearts, by being grateful, showing kindness to others, and using our talents to make the world a better place. Now, we're going to give some examples. So below us, we're going to give some example of various sacrifices that we can offer to God today. Now, think about it. Sacrifice of praise and thanksgiving. Just think about that for a second. And we're just going to share about 3. I mean, there are more ways that we can actually sacrifice. So give sacrifice of praise and of thanksgiving. Now, how does that happen? When we express our gratitude, that's having a great attitude. When we express our hearts of gratitude for God's blessing, we acknowledge his goodness and sovereignty. That's what we're saying. Now, we also invite his presence into our life through worship. Now, here are some specific ways to offer sacrifice of praise and thanksgiving. For example, you can begin each day with a prayer of thanksgiving. I remember the very first prayer of thanksgiving that I made. I was a few months old as a disciple. And I told myself, I'm not going to ask God for anything. I'm just going to just thank him. And that's what I did on my knees. I woke up in the morning, but I just going to thank him. I spent maybe 15 to 20 minutes, just thanking. And that was all I did on that day. So you can start with your day with prayer of thanksgiving. Then you can keep a gratitude journal. Then you can sing praises or listen to worship music. Now, I giggle, or I chuckle when I say this thing, because I'm a life coach, okay? A certified life coach. And sometimes I'm sitting in seminars and I'm watching life coaches speak, and I also speak also, and I watch people delivering papers and whatever. And they're talking about it. I was like, in my mind, I was like, these things are actually in the Bible. And they say, like, if you start your day with gratitude, just give gratitude. It does healing to you. For yesterday, somebody, sent me a video that says, medicine that you not find in the store, medicine you not find in the pharmacy. And it's an animated video. And these animated characters of doctors were coming out, talking about gratitude, talking about being thankful, whatever. You don't find them, but because it's good for your soul. So we give, when you are consciously grateful, guess what? It actually brings your blood pressure. It calms you down. Guess what? You begin to see more things to be grateful for. All right. So anyway, I'm not going to go too much to that. Number 2 is sacrifice of doing good and sharing. Just doing good. When we reach out to others, to help others, we become channel or conduit of God's love and grace. We also demonstrate our obedience to Christ's command to love our neighbor as ourselves. Now, there are some specific ways that you can do that can offer the sacrifice of doing good and sharing. Number 1, you can volunteer your time for a cause that you care about. What you care about? You care about cancer, you care about, infant mortality, you care about volunteer. It's very, very good. You volunteer. You care about keeping fit, volunteer to go serve. You care all kinds of things, soup kitchen, distributing food, raising money for a cause, all sorts. Now, donating to charity that are helping people in their need is also a way of doing that. I remember many times I've had to go donate blood for people that I hardly know. Just go there in Louth. I get an information when somebody needs blood. I just collect the person's name. I go over there and I donate blood. And like I was sharing on Wednesday, my wife, because God has delivered her from so many health challenges, and she remembers a time where we literally couldn't afford doctors. You can imagine us seeing doctors that they charge us like 40,000, 20,000 for consultation just to come and see the doctor, not for medication, whatever. And it was tough for us. And until God came through, disciples gave money from overseas and every single thing. And God spared her life. So because of that gratitude, my wife said, I don't want to see any other person suffer with that money. And that's why she started this garage sale. Some of you have patronized, some of you have donated things over. And you can't imagine how many people in our church, even outside our church, that money has really helped. So that is also how to give gratitude to God. So you can perform random acts of kindness. Like sometimes I'm out at the yard and I see maybe a neighbor's clothes hanging and not hanging well. I put it there up from the floor, put it up. So just do random acts. I walk around, I see trash, I pick it up. I do that actually. I pick it up, I put it in the next available trash can. So you can perform random acts of kindness, such as holding the door for someone. How easy can that be? Be generous with your time, your resources, even when it's convenient. Oh man, that is a lot. I remember every day, man. Even right now, I have messages I need to respond to, voice message I need to record, questions people are asking, videos that I need to record to send, phone calls I need to return, So, and I really try my best. I really, try my best, but the demand is really higher than supply. But can you imagine if we have more people that can do some of the things I do? It will become shared. And more people who can do some of the things that you do. Or if you can pick up doing some things that other people do, work will become much more easier. Number 3 is sacrifice of our time and talents. We all, possess unique talents and abilities. Now, when we dedicate our time and give to serving others, we offer a meaningful sacrifice to God. Now, this is a way of living out our faith. Okay, and there are some examples on how we can offer sacrifice of our time. Number 1, use your skill and talent to help others in need. Are there things that you have been gifted? For example, if you are good at writing, you could volunteer to help with the church's maybe power series. Definitely, I have talent gifts in writing. Can you imagine if they call for people who can help out do pastries, and I'm not there. I know there was a time I did for 5 years. I was a sole, custodian of that stuff. Then and now after I say no, I need to hand over to someone, because that's what I do. I generate at work. I know how to create work. When more people can do it, then I can hand it over. So I now realized the person that was doing it, passed on. That's why I came back and said, come and let me help out. And I know when I come to things, I want to keep on. Is there a way I could make it better? Is there something we can do, better? So I bet there are a lot of people in our church who are better writers or who are better publishers than me and everything. Just come out. So please get involved in your community by serving, on the maybe on the board. Maybe some of you can lead Bible talk, but you are not leading. Maybe some of you can disciple someone. You can mentor somebody. You can do a lot, but you are not. So in conclusion, the author of Hebrews has shown us that pleasing sacrifices in this modern era go beyond, ritualistic offering, not just praising God, go to church. They involve a sincere heart. They involve a grateful spirit. They also involve a willingness to serve other people. So by offering godly, by offering God-pleasing sacrifices, we profoundly connect with the divine. So we are not buying our salvation. But the Bible said that God created us to do good works. Just do good work. Call to action. Number one, we're going to do 3. Number one, make it a goal to praise and thank God regularly. Don't make it a goal. After a while, it becomes a habit. Like there was some heavy financial burden that that came on us, recently, and it was financial burden. And my wife was very worried. I just said, honey, well, God said we should thank him in every circumstance. And I meant it. Like God said we should thank. Let's thank God. So at least that we can have this situation, but God is going to see us through and everything. So that's number one. Make it a goal. Okay, I'm going to thank God for everything. That perform acts of kindness and share with those in need. Number 3, use your talent. So thank God. 1, do acts of kindness. 2, then use your talent to make positive impact in and outside of our community. Remember, there's a quote here that in simplicity of a grateful heart, in compassion of a helping hand, and in dedication of our time and talent, we find modern day altars for our pleasing sacrifices. So an altar is where sacrifices are laid. So how do we find our altar? In the simplicity of our grateful hearts, in the compassion of a helping hand, and in dedication of our time and our talents. That is where we can find the modern day altar for a pleasing sacrifice. That wraps up our day 41. Today I can't wait for day 42. That is tomorrow, Sunday, as we look at a city that is to come, heaven in view. I guess, today's prayer will be heavily characterized by thanksgiving and gratitude. So if you want to show thanks and give gratitude at this time for anything, maybe no matter how short it is, it's time to put up your hand. We already have one hand up, and this is where I stop recording, and we're going to start praying.